Block 1. The update that never ends. Somewhere on a server, a number just changed. A like was added. A follower was gained. A version was released. A post was updated, edited, deleted, reposted. The internet does not sleep, and increasingly, neither do we. There is a particular anxiety of the modern age. It does not have an alarm. It does not announce itself loudly. It arrives quietly, in the space between one scroll and the next. The feeling that something has changed while you were not looking. That someone has moved ahead. That the version of yourself you are presenting to the world is already slightly out of date. We live in a culture of constant updates, software updates, profile updates, opinion updates, identity updates. The message underneath all of it is the same. What you are right now is not quite enough. The current version has bugs. An improvement is available. Please update to continue. And so we update, and update, and update again, and still the notification arrives. A new version is ready. There is a word for this exhaustion. But it is not a new word. It is one of the oldest words in human philosophy. Dukkha. Usually translated as suffering, but that translation is too heavy. Dukkha is more like a subtle unsatisfactoriness. The feeling that something is slightly off, that the ground beneath you is not quite solid, that things are not quite what you wanted them to be. The Buddha identified dukkha as the first truth of human existence. Not as a punishment, not as a flaw in the design, but as a natural consequence of living in a world that does not hold still. A world that is, in every moment, changing. And tonight, we sit with that, not with the anxiety of it, but with the extraordinary, quiet, underappreciated beauty of it. Let your body settle. Let the screen light fade from your mind. Let the updates wait. They will still be there tomorrow. Everything that needs to be attended to will still be there. But right now, just for this hour, let the river move, without trying to stop it, without trying to hold it still. Block 2. The Buddhist world, a universe in motion. To understand the Buddhist teaching on impermanence, you need to understand the world it emerged from. 2,500 years ago, in what is now northern India and Nepal, a young prince named Siddhartha Gautama left his palace. He had been raised in extraordinary luxury. His father, a king, had gone to great lengths to protect him from the realities of the world. No illness, no poverty, no old age, no death. Only beauty, pleasure, comfort, and youth. But one day, Siddhartha left the palace grounds, and he saw an old man, bent and slow. He saw a sick man, lying by the road. He saw a corpse being carried to cremation. And he saw a wandering monk, calm and self-possessed, moving through the world without grasping. These encounters, which the tradition calls the four sights, broke something open in him. Not the seeing of suffering. He had heard about suffering, but the visceral, undeniable, personal encounter with it. With the fact that the body changes, that everything changes, that the beautiful face becomes the old face, becomes the still face, that everything he had been protected from was not an exception to life. It was life. He left the palace that night. He spent years searching, studying with teachers, practicing austerities, pushing his body to extremes. And then one night, sitting beneath a tree, he stopped searching. He sat. He simply sat. And something became clear. The teaching that emerged from that night under the Bodhi tree had many dimensions. But at its core was one observation so simple and so profound that it has occupied human thought ever since. Anicca. Impermanence. Everything that arises passes away. Everything that is born will die. Everything that comes together will separate. Everything that exists is in the process of becoming something else. Not as tragedy, not as punishment, as the fundamental nature of reality. The river flows, the seasons turn, the breath arrives and departs, the body grows and changes and ages and returns. The mind produces thoughts the way the ocean produces waves, one after another, without stopping, without any single wave being permanent. This is not a belief, it is an observation, one that can be verified in the next 10 seconds. Notice your breath. The inhale that just began is already becoming the exhale. The exhale that just completed is already becoming the next inhale. Nothing about this breath is identical to the last one. The temperature is slightly different. The depth is slightly different. Even the chemical composition of the air is slightly different. You have never taken the same breath twice. You never will. Anicca. Block 3. Anicca. Everything is flowing. The Pali word Anicca, impermanence, appears in the earliest Buddhist texts thousands of times. It is not incidental, it is the foundation. Sabbe Sankara Anicca. All conditioned things are impermanent, not some things, not most things. All conditioned things, everything that has causes, everything that has come together from other things, which is, as far as we can tell, everything. The mountain seems permanent, but the mountain is moving, millimeters per year perhaps, but moving, grinding, being worn by wind and water, being pushed by tectonic forces from beneath. The mountain that was here 1,000,000 years ago is not this mountain. The mountain that will be here 1,000,000 years from now will not be this mountain either. The star seems permanent, but the star is burning, consuming itself, transforming hydrogen into helium, into carbon, into iron, until one day it exhausts itself and collapses, or expands into a red giant and swallows its planets, or explodes outward into the dark. Everything is moving. Everything is changing at different speeds, on different time scales. But nothing is holding still. And here is where it gets interesting. We know this. At some level, every adult human being knows this. We have lost people. We have watched our own bodies change. We have seen cities transform, and relationships end, and certainties dissolve. We know that nothing lasts, and yet we organize our lives almost entirely around the assumption that things will. We make plans that assume the future will resemble the present. We build identities that assume the self will remain consistent. We form attachments that assume the beloved will always be here, in this form, in this way. And when the inevitable change comes, and it always comes, we are surprised. We feel betrayed, as though reality has broken a promise it never actually made. The Buddhist teaching is not asking us to stop planning, or to stop forming attachments, or to stop caring about anything because everything ends. That would be nihilism, and the Buddha was not a nihilist. What the teaching is asking us to do is far more subtle and far more difficult. Hold things lightly, love deeply, commit fully, plan carefully, build beautifully, and hold it all with open hands, not because nothing matters, but because everything matters more when you know it is temporary. The meal is more delicious when you know it will end. The conversation is more precious when you know it will close. The day is more beautiful when you know it will become night. Impermanence is not the enemy of meaning. It is the condition that makes meaning possible. Block 4. The second arrow. The Buddha told a parable. He asked his students, if a person is struck by an arrow, is it painful? Of course, they said. And if that same person is struck by a second arrow in the same wound, is it more painful? Yes, they said, much more painful. The Buddha said, in life, we cannot always avoid the first arrow. Pain, loss, illness, disappointment, these are part of being alive. They are the first arrow. They arrive whether we want them to or not. But the second arrow is the one we shoot at ourselves. The resistance to the pain. The why is this happening to me? The this should not be this way. The desperate, exhausting effort to undo what has already happened. To unfeel what has already been felt. To unlose what has already been lost. The first arrow hurts. The second arrow, the arrow of resistance, often hurts more and longer. Think about a time you lost something. A relationship, a job, a version of your future you had planned on. The loss itself was painful. But how much of the suffering came from the loss itself? And how much came from the not accepting? From the replaying, the what-ifs? The anger at the universe for not cooperating with your plans? The first arrow is the change. The second arrow is the refusal to allow it. This does not mean you should not grieve. Grief is natural. Grief is healthy. Grief is the appropriate response to loss. But grief and resistance are different things. Grief moves. It flows like water. It changes shape. It hurts in different ways at different times, and it gradually, unevenly, incompletely, but genuinely transforms into something else. Into memory, into gratitude, into a kind of bittersweet richness that people who have never lost anything do not yet understand. Resistance does not move, it circles. It returns to the same point again and again. Why did this happen? It should not have happened. I want it back. The second arrow, lodged deep, keeping the wound open. The teaching of impermanence is not an instruction to feel nothing. It is an invitation to pull out the second arrow, to feel the first arrow fully, to let the grief be grief, to let the loss be loss, to stop fighting the river, and in the stopping, to discover that the river was never your enemy. It was just moving, as rivers do, as everything does. Block 5. Cherry blossoms and the art of ending. In Japan, there is a tradition unlike anything else in the world. Every spring, when the cherry trees bloom, millions of people stop what they are doing. They go outside. They sit beneath the trees. They eat and drink and talk and fall silent. They look up at the blossoms. This practice is called hanami, flower viewing. And the reason it is so beloved, the reason it has been practiced for over 1,000 years, has everything to do with impermanence. Cherry blossoms last approximately 2 weeks, sometimes less if the wind comes early. They are among the most fleeting of flowers, and that is precisely why they are so beautiful. There is a Japanese concept that captures this. Mono no aware, often translated as the pathos of things, or the bittersweet awareness of impermanence. It is the feeling you get when something beautiful is ending. The last light before sunset, the final page of a book you have loved, the last evening of a holiday, the look on a child's face when they are too old to be carried but do not yet know it. Mono no aware is not sadness exactly. It is something richer, a simultaneous appreciation and mourning, a feeling that is only possible because you know the thing will end. If cherry blossoms bloomed for 6 months, no one would stop to look at them. They would be background. Furniture. Another thing that is simply there. But because they last 2 weeks, people travel hundreds of miles to sit beneath them. Because they last 2 weeks, poets have written about them for 1,000 years. Because they last 2 weeks, their falling, the petals drifting down on the wind, is considered as beautiful as their blooming. The ending is part of the beauty. The ending is what makes the beauty visible. This is what the Buddhist teaching on impermanence is pointing at. Not just as a fact to be accepted, but as a source of beauty that is only available to those who are willing to see clearly. The people who cannot bear endings cannot fully appreciate beginnings. The people who cannot accept that things pass cannot fully inhabit the present, because they are always, partially, somewhere else. In the future, dreading the loss. In the past, mourning what has already gone. The present moment, this breath, this light, this conversation, this body, this life, is only fully available to the person who knows it is temporary. Sit beneath your own cherry tree tonight. Not a real one, but the cherry tree of this moment, this particular configuration of warmth and quiet and rest. It will not be exactly like this again, not tomorrow night, not ever. This particular moment, with these particular thoughts fading, and this particular body settling into this particular surface, in this particular season of your life. It is blooming right now. Look at it. Block 6. Impermanence of the self. Here is where the teaching becomes personal and a little unsettling, and eventually very freeing. It is not just the cherry blossoms that are impermanent. It is not just the circumstances of your life. It is you, the self, the continuous, consistent, named and storied person you believe yourself to be, is also impermanent. The you that is lying here tonight is not the same you that existed 10 years ago. Your cells have replaced themselves many times over. Your beliefs have shifted. Your relationships have changed. The things that seemed most important then may seem secondary now. The fears that kept you up at night then may seem distant. New fears have arrived to take their place. You have changed. Continuously, incompletely, unevenly, but genuinely. And if you look more closely still, the you that woke this morning is not quite the same as the you that went to sleep last night. Something was processed in the dark. Something shifted. Some small concern resolved itself. Some small understanding arrived. And if you look more closely still, the you of 5 minutes ago is not quite the same as the you of right now. One breath has completed. One thought has passed. The body temperature has fluctuated by a fraction of a degree. Something in the brain has changed its firing pattern. You are not a static thing. You are a process, a flowing, a river that calls itself by a name. The Buddhist concept of anatta, non-self, takes this even further. We encountered it briefly in the first episode, but here it becomes more intimate. Anatta does not mean you do not exist. It means the self you believe yourself to be, fixed, solid, continuous. The author of your experience may be more like a story than a thing. A very convincing story. A useful story. A story that allows you to navigate the world, maintain relationships, pursue goals, learn from the past. But a story nonetheless. When you look for the self, where do you find it? In your thoughts? But thoughts come and go without your permission. Which thought is the real you? In your body? But the body changes constantly. Which version of the body is the real you? In your memories? But memories are reconstructed each time they are recalled, slightly different each time. In your values? But values evolve. The person who held the values of 20 years ago, was that the real you? Or is this? The self is not a thing you find. It is something that is continuously constructed by memory and narrative and the way other people respond to you, by habit and history and the stories you tell yourself before sleep. And this, which might sound frightening, is actually an extraordinary freedom. If the self is a construction, it can be reconstructed. If it is a story, it can be retold. If it is a river, it can find a new channel. You are not trapped in who you have been. You are not sentenced to repeat the patterns of your past. The self that disappointed you, the self that made mistakes, the self that could not quite manage, that self is impermanent too. It is already changing. Right now, in the dark, in the quiet, while you rest. Block 7. Clinging and the river. There is a reason we resist impermanence. It is not stupidity. It is not weakness. It is not a failure of philosophical understanding. It is love. We cling to what we love. We hold tight to what matters. We press our hands against the flow of time because the things being carried away are precious to us. This is deeply human and deeply understandable. The Buddha did not condemn clinging. He observed it carefully, compassionately, as a doctor observes a symptom, not with judgment, with the intention to understand and eventually to relieve. The Pali word for clinging is upadana. It means literally fuel, the thing that feeds the fire of suffering. And the Buddha identified 4 kinds. The first is clinging to sensory pleasure, the pursuit of more comfort, more beauty, more taste, more sensation. Not the pleasure itself. Pleasure is fine. But the compulsive reaching for it, the inability to be satisfied, the next experience, the next purchase, the next hit of dopamine, which is, in our age, more available and more relentlessly marketed than at any point in human history. The second is clinging to views, to being right, to having the correct opinion, to the identity built around a set of beliefs. The person who cannot update their worldview because their worldview has become their self. The third is clinging to rites and rituals, to forms and practices and traditions followed mechanically, without the understanding that gave them meaning, mistaking the map for the territory, the gesture for the reality it was meant to point at. And the fourth, deepest, is clinging to the idea of a permanent self, Atta Upadana, the conviction that there is a solid, unchanging I that must be protected, promoted, and preserved at all costs. the source of most of our deepest suffering. Now, a river. Imagine standing in a river. The water is moving. You can feel the current against your legs. If you stand there and simply feel it, the river is beautiful, cool, alive, moving. But if you try to stop it, if you cup your hands and try to hold the water still, something changes. The water slips through your fingers. The more tightly you close your hands, the faster it escapes. And the effort of holding exhausts you. And the river, the beautiful river, becomes a source of frustration. The river has not changed. Your relationship with it has. This is what clinging does. It does not stop the change. Nothing stops the change. But it transforms the experience of change from something natural and even beautiful into something threatening and painful. The practice of releasing clinging is not the practice of not caring. It is the practice of loving the river as a river, not as a lake, not as something that should hold still because you need it to. Loving your life as the moving, flowing, impermanent thing it actually is, rather than the fixed, permanent, reliable thing you wish it were. You can love a river. You can love it deeply. You can walk beside it for years. You can know its bends and its pools, and the sound it makes in different seasons. And you cannot hold it still, and you do not need to. The river is most itself when it is moving, and so are you. Block 8. The gift of ending. Let us talk about endings, not as losses, as gifts. This requires a shift in perspective that does not come naturally. We are trained to see endings as failures. The relationship that ended, the career that closed, the era that passed. We speak of them in the language of loss, of what was taken, of what might have been. But what if endings are one of the most generous things the universe does for us? Consider sleep. Sleep is an ending. Every night, the day ends. The consciousness that navigated and worried and planned and struggled all day is set down. The stories temporarily stop. The self temporarily dissolves. And from that ending comes the morning, the renewal, the restoration. The strange miracle of waking up slightly different from the person who went to sleep. Without the ending of the day, there is no morning. Without the death of the day's self, there is no resurrection of the morning's self. The ending is not the enemy of the renewal. It is its necessary condition. Consider creativity. Every creative act requires the ending of what came before. The blank page that frightens the writer is an ending. The silence before the musician plays is an ending. The empty canvas is an ending. Without the ending of the previous thing, there is no space for the new thing. The artist who cannot finish is the artist who cannot begin again. The person who cannot let the old chapter close cannot open the new one. Consider relationships. Every relationship that ends creates the space. Painful, raw, unwanted space from which something new can grow. not necessarily a new relationship. Something else. Self-knowledge, strength, the discovery of a capacity you did not know you had, the meeting of a person you would never have met if you had not been exactly where the ending placed you. This is not a consolation prize. It is not toxic positivity. It is a genuine structural feature of impermanent existence. Endings are not obstacles to meaning. They are the mechanism of meaning. The song that does not end is not a song. It is noise. The meal that does not end is not a meal. It is a nightmare. The story that does not end is not a story. It is just words. Endings are what give shape to things, what allow things to be things rather than undifferentiated continuation. And the greatest ending, the one we most resist, is also, perhaps, the greatest gift. Death gives life its shape. Mortality gives choice its weight. The fact that you will not live forever is precisely the reason that how you live matters. If you had an infinite time, nothing would be urgent, nothing would be precious, nothing would require your full presence. You could always do it later, but you cannot always do it later. And somewhere in you, you know this. And that knowing, that unwanted, uncomfortable, liberating knowing, is the gift of impermanence. Use it. Not tonight. Tonight is for rest. But carry it lightly into tomorrow. The day that begins tomorrow has never existed before. It will never exist again. It is, in the most literal sense, a once in the history of the universe event. As is this moment, as is this breath, as is this quiet. Block 9. Grief as proof of love. There is something that needs to be said about grief, because any honest conversation about impermanence must make room for grief. Not around it, not past it, through it. Grief is not a malfunction. It is not a sign that the Buddhist teachings have failed you. It is not evidence that you have not understood impermanence deeply enough. Grief is the appropriate response to loss. It is love with nowhere to go. When something you love changes or ends or goes away, the love does not disappear. The love remains, and it has to go somewhere. And grief is where it goes. The depth of grief is a measure of the depth of love. The two cannot be separated. To love is to accept the possibility of grief. And to grieve is to confirm that you loved. The Buddhist teaching is sometimes misunderstood as asking us not to attach, not to love too deeply, not to invest too fully, to maintain a kind of emotional distance from everything in order to be protected from loss. This is a misreading. The teaching is not about loving less. It is about loving without clinging, which is a much more difficult and much more beautiful thing. Loving someone fully, completely, with your whole heart, and holding that love with open hands, knowing it is temporary, knowing that every moment with them is a cherry blossom And because of that knowledge, being more present, more attentive, more genuinely there, not less loving, more loving, because you are not saving any of it for later. When the grief comes, and it will come, it is part of the agreement. Let it come. Do not add the second arrow. Do not resist the grief. Do not tell yourself you should be over it by now. Do not compare your grief to someone else's and find yours too large or too small. Just let the love go where it needs to go. Grief moves in its own time. It does not follow a schedule. It does not progress in neat stages. It circles and recedes and returns and changes shape. Trust it. The way you would trust a river. It is going somewhere, even when it seems to be going nowhere, even when it seems to be flowing backward. It is going somewhere. And where it goes, eventually, is to a place that is both painful and beautiful. A place that the Japanese might call mono no aware, the bittersweet awareness, the love that has learned to live alongside loss, the heart that has been broken open and now holds more than it did before. Block 10, Seasons of a Life. There is a teaching in many traditions, Buddhist, Taoist, indigenous, and others, that human life moves in seasons, not literally, but structurally. Spring, the beginning, birth, childhood, the first opening of the world, everything new, everything possible, the seed cracking open, summer, the fullness, young adulthood and middle life, the expanding of power and capacity, the building, the doing, the long days of effort and ambition. Autumn, the harvest and the letting go, the gradual release of what was built, the deepening of wisdom as the urgency of achievement softens, the beauty of leaves as they change and fall. Winter, the return, the inward turning, the stillness, the root time, the period that looks from the outside like ending, but which is underneath preparation. Every life contains all four, not just once, across a lifetime, but again and again, in smaller cycles, within a career, within a relationship, within a single year, within a single day. You are in a season right now. Your career is in a season. Your relationships are in seasons. Your body is in a season. And the mistake we often make is trying to be in summer when we are in autumn, or trying to rush through winter to get back to spring, or refusing to accept that summer is ending and the harvest must begin. Each season has its own intelligence, its own gifts, its own demands. Winter is not failed summer. It is winter. It has things to offer that summer cannot. Stillness, depth, the chance for roots to deepen in the dark, the chance for the seed to rest before it is time to grow again. And sleep, this nightly sleep you are moving toward right now, is a kind of winter, a small winter, a few hours of darkness and root time, where the doing stops, where the growing pauses, where something deeper and quieter takes over. You are entering winter right now, not with loss, with trust. The tree that loses its leaves in autumn is not dying. It is preparing, pulling its resources inward, going deep. And in the spring, tomorrow morning, something will emerge from that depth, renewed, ready, a little different from what went in. That is the gift of the season. That is the gift of sleep. That is the gift of impermanence. Block 11. Digital permanence. Real impermanence. There is a strange paradox at the heart of modern life. We live in the most impermanent era in human history. Jobs change. Industries transform. Relationships shift. Cities evolve. Ideas that seemed permanent dissolve overnight. And yet we have also built the most elaborate system of preservation ever created. Every photograph taken, every message sent, every video recorded, every opinion shared, stored, on servers, indefinitely or close to it. The internet remembers, and this has created a strange inversion. We try to make permanent the self that is most changeable, the online self, the performed self, the version of ourselves we curate and present and optimize for engagement. And we try to deny the impermanence of the things that are most real: the body, the relationships, the actual, physical, present moment life. The photograph of the meal gets stored forever. The meal itself is gone in 20 minutes. The post about the relationship gets archived. The relationship itself changes with every conversation. The career history lives on LinkedIn, fixed and formatted. The actual experience of that career, the doubt, the growth, the pivots, the quiet moments of meaning, leaves no record. We are preserving the shadow and letting the substance pass unnoticed. And this creates a particular kind of anxiety. A feeling that the real life is somehow less real than the documented life. That a moment not photographed is a moment that did not fully happen. That an experience not shared is an experience somehow wasted. The Buddhist teaching cuts through this gently. The present moment is the only moment that is real, not the record of it, not the memory of it, not the performance of it. This breath, right now, is more real than any photograph of any breath ever taken. This warmth in your body, this particular quality of quiet, this specific, unrepeatable arrangement of your thoughts and feelings and half-dreams at this exact moment. No server holds this. No algorithm has optimized it. No one is watching. It is just yours. Completely yours. Real in the way that only unobserved things can be fully real. Let it be real. Let this moment be enough without being recorded. Let this rest be valuable without being productive. Let yourself exist for this hour, entirely outside the economy of attention. You are not performing right now. You are just here. And being just here, unobserved, undocumented, unoptimized, is one of the most radical and restorative things a modern person can do. Block 12. Beginner's Mind in a World of Updates. In Zen Buddhism, there is a concept introduced by the teacher Shunryu Suzuki, Shoshin, beginner's mind. In the beginner's mind, there are many possibilities, he wrote. In the expert's mind, there are few. Beginner's mind is the quality of encountering something, even something familiar, as though for the first time, without the weight of prior conclusions, without the assumption of already knowing, with genuine curiosity, open, receptive, surprised. It is the mind of the child who has not yet learned that clouds are just water vapor, and so still finds them genuinely miraculous. It is the mind of the person who falls in love and sees the beloved not through the accumulated filter of years, but freshly, as though meeting them for the first time. It is the mind that impermanence makes possible. Because if things are always changing, if the person you are sitting with is genuinely different from the person you sat with yesterday, and the sky outside is genuinely a different sky from the one you saw last week, then expertise is less useful than openness. The expert knows what they are looking at. The beginner sees what is actually there. This is not an argument against knowledge or experience. It is an argument against letting knowledge and experience close the aperture of your attention. Against the automatic, the assumed, the already categorized. The impermanent world is asking something of you, not expertise, presence, not the ability to correctly label what you see. The willingness to actually see it. Each morning is a new morning, not a repeat of yesterday's morning. Each conversation is a new conversation, not a continuation of old ones. Each person you know is right now slightly different from the person you last encountered. What would it mean to meet them that way? To set down the file of who they are and simply be with who they are right now. This is beginner's mind. This is the gift that impermanence offers, if we are willing to receive it. The world is always new. We are just too busy recognizing it to notice. Block 13. Living lightly. There is a quality of being that becomes possible when you have truly understood impermanence. Not immediately, not all at once, but gradually, incrementally, the way the dawn comes. It is a quality of lightness, not superficiality, not caring, not the false cheerfulness of someone who has decided to feel nothing so they won't be hurt. Real lightness. The lightness of someone who is fully engaged with life and fully aware that it is temporary and has found a way to hold both truths at once. The lightness of the open hand. People who have this quality are recognizable. They are often people who have lost something significant, who have been through a real ending, who have stood at the bottom of grief and found somehow that they were still standing, and who came back to life carrying less. Not less love, less armor, less of the need to control outcomes, less investment in being seen a certain way, less fear of the change that is coming, because they have already been changed. And they know they survived. And they know the river keeps moving. And they have stopped fighting the current. Living lightly does not mean living without commitment. The lightest people are often the most deeply committed to their work, their loves, their values, but they hold the commitment differently. Not as a vice grip, as a warm, open, steady hand. Committed to the work while allowing the work to surprise them. Committed to the person while allowing the person to change. Committed to the path while remaining open to a new direction. How do you begin to live more lightly? You begin tonight by releasing just for this hour the need to have things be other than they are. The day is over. What happened, happened. What didn't happen, didn't. What was said, was said. What was felt, was felt. You can pick all of it up again tomorrow. You do not need it tonight. Set it down. The light thing, the free thing, is already underneath all the holding. It always has been. You are already lighter than you know. Block 14. Return. Nothing is lost. We have traveled far tonight. We began in the glow of notifications, in the anxiety of the constant update, in the peculiar modern exhaustion of people trying to hold still a world that will not. And we have traveled through 25 centuries of human wisdom about why this is so, about the flowing nature of everything, about the second arrow and the cherry blossom, about the self that is a river rather than a stone, about endings as gifts, about grief as love, about the beginner who sees clearly because they have not yet decided they know. And now, at the end of this long journey, one final thing, a reassurance. In the Buddhist teaching, impermanence does not mean that things disappear into nothing. It means they transform. The water that evaporates from the sea becomes cloud. The cloud becomes rain. The rain becomes river. The river becomes sea. Nothing is created and nothing is destroyed. Everything transforms. The people you have loved and lost are part of the transformation. Still here, in different form, in the warmth you carry, in the habits you formed because of them, in the ways your thinking was shaped by knowing them, in the parts of yourself that grew because they were present. They have transformed. And so have you, because of them. The version of yourself that existed 10 years ago is not gone. It has transformed into you, into the knowledge you carry, the mistakes you have learned from, the joys that are now memory, the love that is now character. Nothing is lost. Everything transforms. The breath you just exhaled is no longer yours. It has joined the atmosphere. Some of its molecules will become part of a cloud. Some will be breathed by someone on the other side of the world. Some will feed a tree, and the tree will breathe oxygen, and that oxygen will one day enter lungs, perhaps yours, the great recycling, the great transformation, the Tao that Laozi could not name but could point at, the river that never stops flowing but never loses a single drop. You are part of this. You have always been part of this. And tonight, as the thinking slows and the holding softens, you are joining the flow again. Not for the last time, just for tonight, returning as you always do to the source, to the root, to the dark, to the place before the name, where nothing needs to be held, because nothing is lost. Where nothing needs to be accomplished, because everything is already complete. Where nothing needs to be remembered, because the river remembers for you. Sleep now, the current will carry you. It always has, it always will. Sabe Sankara Anicca, all things change, and in the changing, all things continue. Sleep well.